live from our studios on the campus of UCLA. It's the John Garlick Show with Lacey Cloak.
That's me.
Is it you?
Yeah, and that's John Garlick.
Practically
I don't know
perfect.
if you knew that, but...
Yeah, you didn't know that. Nobody
What
cares.
were you about to say? What? Practically what?
You're practically perfect in every way.
That's right.
We have Noah working the cameras on the floor, and the rambling Russian Mikhail up there in the booth.
That was great. We really need cameras on everybody in the
need
studio
cameras
during
on
our show,
everybody.
not just us.
So tonight's show is a special show. We're going to be talking about pet peeves. Not like the animals, but your pet peeves. So you can call us and tell us, and we'll discuss your pet peeves and what they are and what you might want to do with them.
Or if you're on Facebook, I have it right here. You can just type a question in and I will read it.
And our number is 256-831-4624. Now, I got a pet peeve.
Let's hear it. What is
Okay, so I went out to dinner. When was the last time you ate at a restaurant? Not McDonald's, like a real sit-down restaurant.
it? I mean, it hasn't been too terribly long.
Did you look at did you pay for it, or did you let Nikki pay for it?
Mickey? Who's Mickey?
Mickey's the other guy you're
Mickey
going out
Mouse?
with. Nikki. Did you let Nikki pay for it, or did you pay for it?
I don't remember.
So here's the deal.
The last time, I don't know if I was with him or my parents.
Well, all right, so you didn't pay for it.
Just kidding. This past weekend, my grandmother and I, we went and we take turns and she paid.
She paid. Okay.
Okay,
so,
continue.
So Lucy and I went out to dinner at a restaurant that will go unnamed, and we ordered food, and the bill came. And I'm looking at the slip, and it's got the total for the food, and it's got the 2% for the credit card fee, and then it's got a 2.5% for something called uncategorized items.
And they didn't tell you about it before,
That's
right?
correct. It's not on the menu.
Sneaky.
Nobody told me you're going to steal 2.5% from my pocket just to get out the door. And then it subtotaled it, with and then with the sales tax, and then the grand total with all that in it is what they give you for the recommended tips, is based on the grand total, which is not the way tipping used to be. Tipping used to be on the food order. And I looked at that, I'm like, what is this uncategorized fee? And nobody knows. It's just money they're stealing from you.
It's true.
It's true.
And it's wrong.
It is terribly wrong. So I recommend that, one, when you walk into a restaurant, you ask them outright, are you going to be taking 2.5% out of my pocket just so I can get out of this place? Right?
Right.
And if they say yes, you leave. Right? And if you get stuck in one of those places, my solution is I'm not going back. Because that's crazy. And they can't argue it's for inflation, because what do? They jack up the prices on their menu to cover the cost. Yeah, okay. And then they shame you into tipping based on the. So it cost me 31% over my base food cost. 31% with tip, tax, and the special 2.5% fee and the credit card fee.
So what was the price for each individual? Do you remember? Approximately.
Yeah, it wasn't much. Like the 2.5% was like $2.
Okay.
But
it's
still,
the principle
that's
of the matter.
$2 that you're just like, okay, thank you for paying your bill. It'll cost you $2 to walk out the door.
Right.
What is this, like a door tax? What is this? So no. And see, that goes along with the fee they put on your water bill now, the sewer charge or whatever that is. That's a tax.
That's bullcrap.
But they're not calling it a tax. They're calling it a fee. You know why they do that? If they called it a tax, we'd have to have legislation. But the city just calls it a fee, and they throw it on there. And we, like little lemmings, pay for it. So anyway, you can't do much about the water bill, but you can do something about those restaurants. You just say, hey, no thanks. Call and make a reservation. You hitting me up for some extra money for nothing? Right? Yeah.
So from now on, anywhere you go to eat, when you walk in, is that the first thing you are doing? Are you going to ask, like, hey, do you do this?
I am,
And if
'cause
they
it
say
wasn't on
yes,
the
you're
menu.
leaving?
It wasn't on the menu.
Well, of course not.
Right? So by the time you sit down and you order your food, you're like, okay, I order my food, and you have a good time, and then they bring you this thing. It's like, what is this? And nobody cares. It's like, what is it? And if we don't say something about it, so it's 2.5% now. It'll be 5% because nobody cares. And I bet you half the people out there don't even look and notice it.
They don't even notice it,
They
right.
don't notice it. They're reaching in your pocket and stealing money for no reason. They already marked up the
Rude.
food. They marked up the food for the inflation, right? They already
Correct.
marked it up. So it's not like, they're just taking money. This is really big in
not
California, in New York City, but I didn't expect it here in Calhoun
Well,
County.
it's not just restaurants either. Sometimes it's stores.
Really? See, that's just
Yeah,
thieving.
it is.
And,
It's
and it
sneaky.
shouldn't be allowed. Whatever happened to disclosure? You know, in banks, when you go get a loan, they have to give you all these fee disclosures. When you buy a house, you got all these disclosures. Apparently, in the restaurant or store business, you can just, hey, you want to leave? Give me $5.
You're getting heated right now, aren't you?
I am, because it really bothers me. I hate a thief.
You chose this topic.
I know, I did. I hate a thief, and that's thieving to me. So there you go. That's my pet peeve. Now, what do you do with that? Action is the cure. You got to make a decision that you're not going to let yourself get stuck in that. Because part of my angst is that I didn't know, and there I am sitting there going, "What is this?" At that point, it's too late. So I'm giving you this information so that you can ask. And yes, if I go in there and I have to ask, if I sit down, I look at the menu and I say, "Hey, I don't see anything here about this undisclosed charge. Do you guys have that at this restaurant?" And if they say, "Well, yeah, we do," I say, "Okay, thank you very much," and I will leave.
Okay.
Yep. I want the wait staff to know that they just lost a tip. Boom. What? You disagree?
I just know your heart rate is up right now.
It is. My
your
heart
blood
rate
pressure.
is up. There you go.
You need a blood pressure pill.
See, I do need. Yeah, another one. Ah.
Good night.
So what's your pet peeve?
Which one?
Well, pick one.
Just one?
I've got another one, but we'll talk about yours now.
Okay, so do you want me to talk about a pet peeve that has to do with
Nikki?
other...
Yes.
No. Other
No?
people or noises?
Noises?
Mm-hmm.
Like the show Noises Off? Which is a funny show. You don't know that show, and you're a theater person?
Sorry.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, tell me about your noises pet peeve.
Okay,
This is
top three.
top three.
Sucking your teeth, crunching on ice, and when your nose is whistling. Those all three drive me mad. I have to leave the room if someone is making any of those noises. I have to leave.
Yeah, because it's not one of those things you want to bring to somebody's attention, do you?
It depends.
So how many of those does Nikki do?
He has bad allergies, so sometimes his nose whistles, and I'm like, fix your nose, fix your nose, fix your nose.
You really say that to him?
Nicely. It's not like a mean thing. I'm like, nose, whistling, fix it.
Oh, because that's nice.
You should see the rare times when my nose starts whistling and I'm getting on my own nerves. Ugh.
What do? Beat yourself in the nose?
Pretty much.
Oh, okay.
Until it stops.
Well, that's leaving the room is one of those things. It's all about boundaries, really. It all goes
Well,
back to
does it
boundaries.
have? Because I have heard of a branch of anxiety called misophonia, where
Yes.
certain noises will literally. I mean, I'll like jerk. I mean, like I'm cringing. I mean, it's kind of crazy what those noises
Yeah,
do
everybody
to me.
has those, like nails on the blackboard kind of thing, right?
Yeah, I think that gets everybody. That's just like a standard. But those other three, those are my top three.
Yeah.
And they just drive me wild.
Oh, yeah. You know, one of the things kind of like that when you're driving in the car and you're on like the interstate and somebody rolls down a window and the pressure drops in the car and your ears go.
Ooh,
pop.
that's the worst.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. That's crazy. So we don't like that either. Right? That noise
What
too.
was that noise?
That noise.
What was that?
What was that?
My headphones disconnected.
Noah.
Your headphones.
Noah's trying to trigger me.
Noah.
Noah,
So-
what's your pet peeve? People want to know.
People are they're calling right now. What's your pet peeve?
When people like put something like on their Instagram story,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like
A lie?
quote or something, and then they say read that again. I hate it when people.
When people post on social media, like their Instagram, and you say like a quote,
It's like
and then
just a saying or whatever, and then they say read that.
and then
again
they
after
say
it.
read that
I
again,
didn't
like
read it the first time.
that's funny.
Yeah,
I hate it.
that's
Like they are
silly.
trying to make a point, and it's like no one really cares.
Well, you know, social media is just a big pet peeve too.
Oh my gosh, yes,
It's like ruined this country.
it really has. And one of my other big pet peeves is when you're having a conversation with someone, you know, mainly like if you're on a date or something, and you're trying to have a conversation, and they're just doing this.
Oh yeah, that's no. You see, it's a date night. You're supposed to be into each other, not like on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
And really, that's you know what's funny? I've seen it. It's classic, right? You've got two teenagers on a date, and they're texting each other across the table.
So stupid.
I mean, what are we teaching our kids? They have no social skills. That's another pet peeve, right?
Yeah. Well, I think the pandemic really
Pandemic didn't help that.
Right, it
didn't
definitely
help that.
affected it. You know, the phone thing, that actually made my secondary love language switch. My secondary was always, we're talking about psychology again, my secondary was words of affirmation. And then I was with some idiot, and they were always on their phone.
No, always on the
Always. And then sometime after that relationship ended, I got curious and I just retook the love languages test. And then quality time actually surpassed words of affirmation by double because of that situation. So certain situations can change you up.
Yeah, well, of course. You grow and change. Yeah, and yeah, everybody likes positive affirmations. I mean, that's like,
Especially men.
Really?
Well, yeah, pretty much
I mean,
every
I think
guy.
everybody does, but I mean, are men more susceptible to positive
Well, 98% of men, their primary and secondary love language is words and touch, in either order.
That's, yeah,
Right?
depending on the woman that's reading and touching.
That's true too.
Speaking and, yeah, I mean, that's, of course. Duh. All right.
Are you going to say another one of yours, or do you want me to keep going?
I can. Let me say one of mine. Okay. We'll go back to this, and you know, most everybody knows that we had an election that I lost.
We did.
We did, and so here's my pet peeve. It's not that I lost the election. It was a great campaign, and we had a lot of fun. We have 80,000 registered voters in this county. March 5th on the primary, 14,700 people came out to vote. On the runoff, just one race. On the runoff, 3,300 people came out to vote. Now, this is a problem. This country that we live in, this republic, is based on the right of people to vote. You can complain all day long, but bottom line, you vote. And a lot of people don't vote in local elections because they think, my vote doesn't count. Okay, granted, if it's
Local
a national
matters.
election, local does. In a national election where there's 140 million people voting, yeah, okay, your one vote may not make a whole heck of a lot of difference. But in a local election, your mayor, your city council, your commissioners, your probate judges, your local votes, one vote can matter.
It's true.
And you should be out there voting because it is your civic duty. We elect
You're
people
right.
to do their jobs. They're public servants. But the public has a responsibility for this republic, and that is to vote, right?
Vote early and vote often.
Yeah, Mayor Daley said that. But so we have this obligation. Now, along with that obligation comes an obligation to know what you're voting for.
Absolutely.
Take the time to research the position, the candidates, the local legislation that's being passed. You're the voter. You have a civic duty to know what you're voting for and to vote. And it's crazy. And basically voters have become lazy, and this is how our enemies are going to conquer this country. And we'll talk more about pet peeves after we take a break here on the John Garlick Show.
Stay tuned.
May not believe it, but it's true. The 2024 Team 1 Chevys are here. All 23-24 Silverado light duties have 2.9% financing for 72 months. The hottest new 24 Team 1 Chevy Blazer, 1.9% financing and no payments till April. And the #1 selling family vehicle, the Equinox. 24 models. You got it. 1.9% financing and no payments till April. Team 1 Chevrolet, home of the best people, the best service, period.
Hey, this is Jason at Reeves Insurance. Just want to say a quick thank you to all of our customers for your support over the years. We now have offices in Anniston, Alexandria, and Oxford in order to serve you better. So stop in and see me or any of our experienced staff and let us shop for you. We'll find you the best price and the best coverage available. Thank you.
Some say college isn't for single parents or people who work full-time. I'm here to prove them wrong. I'm a first-generation American, the father of Dion, and a non-traditional student at Gadsden State Community College. As a sergeant in the Army National Guard, I've watched soldiers with degrees progress faster in their careers. So today, I'm in school, involved in the Veterans Upward Bound program, and excited to see what's in store for my career. I truly am earning my wings at Gadsden State.
Looking for the best deals in town? Tune in to Shop 24, your ultimate destination for exclusive discounts and savings.
From local restaurants to grocery stores and everything in between, we've got unbeatable deals waiting just for you.
But remember, these deals are hot and limited, so grab your phone fast and be the first to dial in.
Don't miss out on the savings.
Tune in to Shop 24 and shop smart today.
Jazz hands. And we're back. John Garlick Show, talking about pet peeves. So when we went to break, we were talking about people not getting out there to vote. So please, we got November election coming up. It's going to be a big one. Everybody, we'll get a lot of turnout on that election because it's the presidential election.
Absolutely.
But please, when it comes to local elections, get out there and vote. It matters.
It's important.
It is very important. And yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got comments? We got comments that are pet
Yes,
peeves?
we've got some Facebook comments.
Ooh, we love that. What do we got?
So someone said, one of my pet peeves is when someone talks when their mouth is full.
Oh, yeah. Talking while eating.
That was Nikki.
That was Nikki?
Oh yeah.
How
he
often
also
do you
said,
do that?
Never. He also said, another pet peeve of mine is when people never use their turn signals while driving, and I'll piggyback off of that. That's one of my pet peeves, is just slow or bad drivers.
Well, you know, and a lot of people use their turn signals inappropriately. Like you're driving behind somebody, and all of a sudden they're signaling a right turn. So of course you're going to slow down, and then they go right past the turn because they were signaling for the car in front of them. And I get the mindset there is, oh gosh, I got somebody behind me. I'm slowing down because the car in front of me is making a right turn. I want to let them know why I'm slowing down. See, we don't need to know that. That's what you got brake lights for. The brake lights say the car in front of me is slowing down. So what do?
Speed up.
You slow down. So you see, you don't have to do that. It's just one less thing. You have to just let the brake lights do their job. And stay out of the left lane if you're not going faster than the right lane. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. What's another one?
Ashley said, being talked over while I'm talking. Yeah, that is rude.
That is pretty.
That is so rude.
Ask Ashley, or Ashley, you're watching, so answer this.
Did you ask her?
Yeah, okay. So when you get talked over, what is the gender of the person that does most of the talking over?
What are you trying to start?
Well, no, I'm guessing, I know what I'm going to guess at, right? And I'm thinking that mostly it's males that are talking over females.
I was going to say the opposite.
Really?
Whoa. Calling out our own genders.
That's crazy. And I don't know, what does Ashley say? Did she respond? She hadn't responded yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
We'll
But
get to it.
See, I would think, and the reason I say that is because men can be jerks about that.
Well, I was going to say it also depends on the personality type. Like if the man maybe has a controlling personality, then he's going to think that the only thing that matters is what he says. So he'll talk over you.
Well, that's true, but men also tend to be problem solvers, and you know, we think we know all the answers to everything. So we're bad about anticipating what you're going to say, even if we're wrong, and we're going to say it anyway. And so yeah, some of that's human nature, but that's basically rude, and we should be caring and paying attention to the people. Active listening is a skill.
It really is.
It is a skill.
That not all have.
That's correct. And it comes with empathy. Empathy is something that not everybody has.
Right.
And that's okay. But there you go. What else is on there? Who else made a comment before we get to your top
My top
pet
two?
peeve?
Let's see. She said gender is, in all caps, male.
See? I was
great.
right. Boom.
Let's see. Justin says, pet peeve as a trucker, people stopping in front of me too close to our bumper.
You know, I can imagine truck drivers have a real frustration with the rest of us on the road.
Some people have a lot of frustration with some truckers, though.
Well, they do, but truckers, the trucks are hard to slow down. They're hard to change lanes.
Mad respect for the truckers, for sure.
Mad respect. And I always like to do things, I like to anticipate what the trucks are trying to do. Like I'm driving in the left lane and I see two trucks and one's really slow and I'm looking at this truck going, he's going to get over in the left lane any minute now. And so I'll lag back a little bit and pretty soon he'll turn and blinker on. So my goal is to get them to say thank you with the emergency lights. It makes me feel good. It's like, hey. Back in the day when CB radios were actually a way to communicate with truck drivers instead of listening to ads, I used to have a CB radio. And
of course you did.
Yes, in the 70s.
Oh, we should get some. We could talk to each other. That'd be fun.
We could. My handle was the Third Musketeer.
Why?
Just was. I happened to like the Third Musketeer.
That
was
your,
Porthos.
That was your,
Porthos was the Third
nickname.
Musketeer. He was the one that did all the fighting. The one that just liked to pick fights was Porthos. And he was the Third Musketeer.
You like to pick fights?
Well, I didn't like to pick a fight, but I didn't go walk away from one. So.
You didn't start it, but you finished it.
Sometimes it was, yeah.
Depending.
It depended. It depended. Now, on the lacrosse field, my coach would tell me to do stuff that was kind of picking a fight. That was, yeah. Okay, so what's your number one pet peeve?
My number two.
Okay, what's your number two? But we're working our way up because she has 100 of them. Nikki, you should be taking notes. She has a lot of pet peeves.
He passed the test on this one.
Oh.
So, one of my biggest pet peeves is when a female and a male are going on a date, specifically really a first date.
First date.
You know, the girl, we put a lot of work into it, you know. Our hair, makeup, clothes, the outfit. I mean, it's a whole process. And then the guy shows up wearing a baseball cap.
And nothing else?
Jonathan. It just shows no effort to me. It shows just kind of carelessness. Now,
Maybe that's his favorite first date baseball cap.
Now, if you're going to like a baseball game on your first date, then that's okay. Like if it's appropriate, sure. But if you're going to dinner and she has spent so much, you know, time and money to get ready for this date, and you can't even take 2 minutes to fix your hair, come on. Whew, that one gets me fired up.
Well, what's the peeve? Is it the hat or the messy hair?
No, it's not. It's, well, both. Don't show up with messy hair either. It's just, it only takes a couple of minutes for a guy to just fix his hair.
Takes me no time at all.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It takes no time at all. So if you can't even take 2 minutes to fix your hair, then what is that going to manifest into later on in the relationship? What else are you not going to put effort into?
Could be his lucky baseball cap.
Oh, well, no, not.
He's hoping to get lucky on the first date.
It's just tacky. That's tacky.
That's tacky. So that's your number one.
That's my number two.
So Nikki doesn't.
That's
your
my number two.
Nikki doesn't wear baseball caps.
Only when it's appropriate, and he has very nice ones. But no, he takes more time to fix his hair than I do, and that is such a green flag for somebody like me. Like, wow, someone who actually cares.
You know, we talked about that. We talked about long hair on men.
Yeah, on Monday.
Monday night, and I saw an article about that and how, yeah, you're right. Women find that very attractive, and it's been like since the days of the ancient Greeks that warriors always had their hair long. It was a thing of honor, and yeah. And I'm kind of, I can't grow mine, but there's no hair to grow long. But then again, at my age, who cares? So, Nikki, way to go, man.
Good job, Nikki.
I hope you hang on to your hair. I hope you do.
Me too.
Because if it starts to fall out, but I don't know.
There's procedures for that.
Let it. I'm not only the president of the Men's Club for Men. Yeah. Okay. What's your number one?
Okay.
Number one pet peeve.
My number one.
Number one. Drum roll, Noah. Okay. There we go. Okay.
My number one. Thank you, Noah. Is when you could be in a public setting, like maybe a waiting area, or you're riding a bus or something.
Me?
Anybody. Like, yeah, anybody.
Okay. Right.
And it's crowded.
Okay.
And there are well-abled men sitting, and women and elderly Standing.
Yep.
I am the least confrontational person in the world.
Oh, I doubt that.
But that is something that I'll make little sly comments about, especially at Disney World.
Where there are a lot of people?
Well,
Yeah.
when we're on the monorail, if it's, we're in the pod and it's crowded and I'm seeing like grandparents and women and we're standing, and there's young guys just sitting down, doing something stupid on their phone.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just look at whoever I'm with, my friend, I'm like, wow, look at all the gentlemen that are here on this monorail today.
See, they won't even get it because, see, this is the thing we don't teach our young men, and that's how to be a gentleman.
Right.
And gentlemen have honor, and they take care of their hair, they dress nice, and they pay attention to things like that to give of themselves to help things work, right? And so, yes, if you're in a restaurant, in a waiting area at the airport, on a train,
Public
on a bus,
transportation, yeah.
and all the seats are full, and like on a subway in New York, you see this all the time. You're sitting, and here comes a woman or an old man even, or somebody with a walker. Get up, let them have their seat. We did this, last year we were in D.C. for a month.
I
And you see that.
remember.
Yes, for 3 years.
You
according
left
to you.
me for 3 whole years.
Yes, so we saw that a lot on the metro, where you had the opportunity to get up and offer your seat. And I think that's sad. We've lost.
And nobody did, hardly.
Nobody did. Some did. Some do. But it's usually the older folks, the young kids. And that's another thing. You get we saw this a lot on the metro too. You get young teenagers who ride in the metro back and forth from school, and they're just loud. They're playing their music loud. They're yelling and screaming and laughing loud, and as they don't notice that there's other people there that may not want to participate in their loud or their music, and so they just continue to do that. And that's a lack of kind of parenting and teaching that we need to do as parents.
And piggybacking off of that, this is something that I notice, and my parents really notice this in public settings, when people are being loud, but they're also being loud and cursing.
Yeah.
Not caring that, there could be somebody next to them that's a preacher that doesn't want to hear that, or just somebody who doesn't it's just disrespectful.
Yeah, not many people want to hear all that. We've become used to it.
Sadly.
And different parts of the country have different tolerances for that. And so you got to take the time to be aware of that. We talk about cultural differences all the time.
Right.
We talk about people getting microaggressions because we don't honor their culture. Yet there's a bunch of stuff that is everybody's culture that we don't pay attention to, like cussing or standing up and offering your seat, or not playing loud music all the time in a crowded area. So we got to be nicer folks.
Not holding the door open for someone behind you, and then the door almost smacks you in the face. I'm like, thanks.
You know what I used to do with doors? This was funny. I used to have so much fun with this. You walk out the door, and what I do is I'd either open the door to leave or come in, and I'd let it hit my foot. So, and I pretend like it hit my head. So I'd go, boom, and I go, oh.
That's sneaky. It's funny, though.
It was funny. I would do funny things like that. Yeah, so there you go. Okay, so that's your number one pet peeve.
Yes.
That's awesome.
That is my number one.
Do we have any other
everything.
pet peeves on there? We haven't got a lot of people calling in for
Yeah,
pet peeves.
let's see.
We have 1 minute left.
Justin, pet peeve: as a weatherman, false alarm ratio during tornado warnings. Yeah, sorry about that.
Which is, back in the day, this is real quick because we're short on time. The EMA used to put off those sirens every time we had a thunderstorm warning. They'd fire the sirens up just in case it turned into a tornado. And everybody would run outside their house and go and listen. And I got to talking with the director of the EMA. I said, why do we do that? Set the alarm off when we need to go to shelter so that we know. We hear the alarm, we go. Okay, next week's show, parenting. Ha-ha, we're going to get Mandy to call in and talk about how hard it was to parent Lacey.
She will tell you I was a very good, easy child.
All right, we will see you again next Wednesday at 6:30 here on The John Garlick Show.
Have a great night.